We'll be playing Bach 1007, Prelude, the first movement of that work.
Fantastic. Let's go for it. Need to score? Yeah. Wonderful, beautiful. Isn't it amazing, Johann Sebastian Bach? And this is one of the examples I was saying before about the pyramid and all this, metaphor. For him, it was, what was his, the last step of this pyramid, his last commitment, emotional commitment, was to connect with God through music. And that confers his music such a profound feeling, because that was his obsession, that was his goal. So for him, he had the technique, he had the musicality, and he had the emotional commitment. So that's beautiful. Okay, so in Bach, usually there is usually in the music of Bach there is usually a climax, right? Where from the first note we are aiming something, we are in search of something, we are with a certain not anxiety but direction. Where is that? Tell me.
I think it's at the end.
Uh-huh.
I think it's to this.
And it was beautiful. The last explosion. And that's usually a surprise in Bach, because Bach usually works a lot with the golden section, it's called, I think, which is, it was an aesthetic term from the Baroque and the Renaissance. And usually that golden section usually was like 2/3 of the piece. So in many of Johann Sebastian Bach, climax is around that area. So, how would you describe this piece? I mean, in terms of how would you structure it? I mean, it's obvious that there is an ending where, we are growing. And what else? How would you structure this? It's like where there are like certain points where, he creates like a fermatas, where he changes the pattern of di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. Where does he change that? Because those moments are meaningful, right? I mean, because why was he changing the pattern? He could have played, all the time. So those places, I think, have a special meaning to us. So where are they?
I think the main one is between the A and B section here.
Exactly, this is one. But this one is also interesting, right? This exactly.
I like the portions where he changes into,
this
does a
one.
progression and goes back into the D.
Exactly. So there are, these three have like very similar. So there are certain patterns that are different, right? And that are in search. So for us, those are important. The climax was beautifully played. It was very emotional. But somehow, from the beginning, there was a lack of building it up.
Yeah.
There was, it was beautiful and nice, but it's like, where are you bringing us? Where is your goal?
Mm-hmm.
Where is that? And, and I want you to define that.
Mm-hmm.
I will try to define it now. Where are we going, right? Because people want that, people, on one hand, we offer the hand to the audience, but then, they want them to be taken to a journey.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something to discover. And one more thing. How would you describe this counterpoint that Johann Sebastian Bach is doing this piece?
What do you mean?
Like counterpoint usually is when there are different voicing, right? And different voicing that is a horizontal way of composition where the lines have a meaning by themselves, but when they are put together, they have a meaning also vertically. This one is a cello, right? Cello. The cello, and to do counterpoint, you would imply to have different voices, right?
Yeah.
Like a choir, or like an organ, or different instruments.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is a cello. And the cello only, plays exactly a single note, one after the other. Do you think is he still doing counterpoint or not? That's the question.
It doesn't feel like it. Because there's no, multiple lines moving in opposite directions.
Okay, what do you think?
There's counterpoint.
Different. So now you say there's counterpoint. You say, well, there is only one voice. How can you make counterpoint? So how does it work?
By balancing the lower voices with the higher, switching back and forth to have two lines going on at the same time, but maybe not always matching at the exact vertical moments, but switching.
Yeah, it's around that. So basically, what is called is implied counterpoint. Implied counterpoint, which means that with one line, you are doing different voicing, even though you are not keeping all the voicing singing all the time. For example, what would you say a line could work in here?
As a counterpoint line?
Yeah. Like what are the voicing here? Let's try to analyze what are the voicing here. How many voicing there are? How many voices? Sorry.
I think I can see what you mean. So there's this. That's one voice.
Which one? You played too many notes.
Oh.
Which one?
That one.
Okay.
That's one voice. And this other three notes. So maybe that's like a call and response.
Let's start with the easy one.
Okay.
One for me is there is a bass. Imagine a choir. There is a bass section. That's a voice already.
Okay.
That right there. The other one, as you said, let's go to the top. Usually in counterpoint and in harmony, there is always bass and top, right? That's what rules music, and then in the middle, is where the violas exist. Sorry. No violist, right? Players today? Anyone?
You keep on talking about.
Sorry, no.
I think I see.
No orchestra couldn't exist without violas.
So this middle voice.
So
starting with
let's go to the top voice. What would be the top voice?
You want to go. Okay.
And now play it how it's written.
I see.
So beautiful. Keep going. Right?
Yeah, that's nice.
So now, and then there is a third voice.
Mhm.
What's that?
The middle voice.
Yeah, exactly. Play it for us. And play it, I know it's tricky, but try to play it as you did. Ta, 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 ta. No, it's not. This is how it's said. Okay, so now, a cello, which only has one melody, is creating a 3-dimension.
Okay.
It's not two-dimensional or one-dimensional, but out of the sudden you created, like three different characters.
Right.
That each of one are related to each other, but have their own voice, have their own personality, have their own feeling. Okay, so the next thing, how we are going to play the bass. Have you heard of pulse, right? We've all heard what a pulse is, right? Pulse. How would you describe a pulse?
It's like a beat that you feel within your body that continues on. It gives structure to everything else.
Beautiful. And it's different than rhythm. You usually have rhythm, which is the all 16 notes, that's rhythm. How would you transmit a pulse into music? That feeling you were describing, very beautiful. Would you put it into music?
I think you might do that by, well, have to be very consistent, even. I think you could reinforce it by changing a little bit of the rhythm.
Nice.
Go faster or slower, but always go back to reinforce that rhythmic, constant beat.
That's one way to do it, yes. It has to be very subtle, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go into rubato and things like that. It's something, it's like an inner force that brings you, invites you to land. Mm-hmm. It's like a pendulum, right? What other ways? That's one, changing a little bit the rhythm, trying to make a little direction into it.
Right.
What else? There's another one.
Could you slightly accent the pulse?
Yeah, I can feel, it's not, it's a way of accent, it's a way of landing, right? Okay. Because usually it's not an accent, but it's usually it's heavy, it's wide. Mm-hmm. It rebounds, like a big balloon, right? It's not like an accent. And then, with also with the direction in terms of dynamics.
Okay.
Right, so you can play these like. I'm playing all the notes as it's written, sorry with my mistakes. There's not necessarily a pulse here.
Right.
The rhythm is perfectly written, it's perfectly played, but there's no pulse. All the notes, and the rhythmic is perfect. All the notes are basically the same. So the pulse is... And that's what really, makes people to go into a state of connection, of calmness, is the pulse. So, let's start feeling that kind of, like the pulses here into, and this is very important because then in these sections, in these transitional sections, we might change them. Mm-hmm. Now we are doing it like every 2 quarter notes, right? Like now, but then we might change it. Here, for example, there's no pulse until here again, from here to here. So that creates, out of the sudden it's like, now. That's nice to think about those terms. So, now let's go for the top melody. Let's play it.
Just top melody?
Yeah. No, it's a... Okay, so let's categorize those 4 notes. Which one is most important and less important, and which one, we want to create that direction, going forward, going backwards, playing it louder, softer.
I would say the third note is more important. So this one.
Okay, play it. Okay, that's an option. Okay. Let's try different things to see what it feels right, or you know, or more natural, or the thing that you enjoy the most. That's one option. Let's try now, for example, on the first note. And when you do it in the first one, what happens with the other two? What do you want to do with the other two notes?
Kind of fade off.
Good. So let's try that. That's one design. The first one is more than an accent. Is, you know, it's like it's a more weight, and then it fades out. Right. So it be. It's almost like a gesture, right? Like. Whatever you want to visualize, but it's like. And then we could do, like, for example, going to the last note as the most important one, right? We are trying different options, so.
I think I like the first one accented.
Play the trio and listen to your body and to your sensitivity. Which one is that one?
This is the first note accented.
Okay. And then fade it away. There was the second one. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Play the second, the one that you proposed. That was like the first one, exactly, yeah. But we got the feeling. And play the third one, just for fun.
The last one?
Yeah. No? It's so anti-natural that it's even difficult to play. It'd be something like that. Right? It's like, come on, Bach. I mean, no. So let's just stay with the first and the second one. So, we already have it in the memory. So, what you feel has the first one versus the second one. And that's already interpretation. And that's so important, you know, we're taking a lot of time in this, but you know, that defines the whole piece.
Yeah.
So.
I like the first one better.
Mm-hmm. Describe it. I mean, I know, but why? I always like to ask why. Why do you feel it's better? Why do you feel the second one is not as good as the first one for you?
It repeats that pattern, so it's, you know, the establishes it first and then repeats it.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that's how the phrase starts.
Mm-hmm. But why is that better than the second one?
That's
But both of them are melody. It's the way we are playing it, and it's how it's written. Both of them could be, you know, Bach couldn't tell us anything. This is number 2. Sounds nice. The first one. see how we change the pattern of the pulse. We were expecting like, but then it goes, we change the pattern of the pulse, which is so beautiful. But going back to the question.
I think I have a new answer to that.
Good.
Maybe a technical answer, but it's a major. And it reinforces the piece.
Usually good composers are going to use, and he was aware of that, he's going to use different of their personal musical tools to reinforce that. One could be, going to measure, but the other one is like falling, changing the pattern and the rhythmic pattern, and going into like a falling cascade. It's falling also, so it helps us to go to that point. Going back, any ideas between the first and the second one? Or what do you like best? Who likes the first one? So ta-di-da-da, or who likes the second one, which is ta-di-da-da, ta-di-da-da. Both of them are fine, so don't be afraid. Which one the first one? Okay, and the second one? Good. So do you like the first one too?
I like the first one.
Both of them are right, and that's where you, as artists, you choose. And it's your statement, and it makes your interpretation different than the one that was thinking that, it feels the other one better. For me, the second one is more, more square. Because you are marking, you are like subdividing the pulse, like and the first one is more, the gesture is more lyrical. More dreamy, more interesting, more, more free. Even though we are not changing the rhythm, we are playing exactly the same rhythm, exactly the same notes. It's all about the pulse.
Yeah.
And it's all about how we define the weight and the design of that top melody. So, let's play it again, and then, the viola, right, in the middle, which, is still important. So how could the violas help us to reinforce the pulse? Any ideas? You said before that it could be, through rhythm, trying to make it a little faster or slower. I told you also that it could be also through the dynamics. We want to create a sensation of the pendulum to go boom. How do you create that boom?
So where the viola comes in is at different parts of the pendulum.
So, there are 3 notes, 3 lasts. That'd be like a viola that is boring and he doesn't care about anything. He's just playing, the 3 notes the same.
Is it a pickup to the bass?
That's very plain. But we could do also. What's the difference? We created like a direction, right? So let's play it. You see, it helps us to push to gain momentum for the pulse.
I can start to hear the voices.
And now you start, exactly, the three-dimensionality of music, which is beautiful. So, even though it's the viola and we don't want to interfere with the melody and the bass, it needs to be there and it can help us to get that momentum and that intensity whenever we want. So let's try to play it now, envision this three voicing and thinking that this is the one that this big balloon that rebounds, and then the middle voice helping us a little bit with that, and then the melody with the design that we agreed. I mean, it was our decision to choose the first one, or it was your decision to play it with the first the gesture. Okay. Now play it all together. Just 1 second, it's beautiful, but you are thinking too much on the melody. And you are forgetting the feeling of the bass, the pulse. The pulse is what guides us. So, so now I want to go. He was like, oh, I don't know where to go.
Okay, all the way down to that.
All the way down. Go for it. Yeah. Go for it.
Pablo, we're pretty close there too.
Yes, thank you. So let's just go until here and think that,
I think it helps when I was watching you as you're animating the piece.
Yes. Movement always helps. And there aren't how do you say, greetings, many things written about Johann Sebastian Bach, but there is one that describes an evening where, Johann Sebastian Bach was playing with other musicians. He was playing the harpsichord. And he described the scene. Johann Sebastian Bach was dancing all the time while playing his music. And if you see his manuscripts, are all, these gestures, usually curved lines. That's telling us so much about how to play his music. It was so go for this. Let's work only on this. Thinking about that. And one more thing. This semitone, it's almost like a plea. How do you say like please? Yeah. Almost painful. It's the same. Imagine this. This note almost no sound. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So. this is basically all the elements you need to know to define, to keep playing the rest of the piece, because there's no newer material. So wherever there are these transitions, define where is it going, and to create direction. Usually, and this is very important, to create a direction in a melody, if you define a starting point, it usually doesn't help to create a movement, because it's like here, and I'm going here. But if you start without an accent, without defining the starting point, it's like, you create it because the direction you didn't even realize when the point was starting. What moment I was starting to create the direction. I couldn't hear, there wasn't an accent, there wasn't a starting point. So that's what I mean here. You could do this like, it doesn't create that direction. I define the starting point. But if I don't define that starting point, it opens, it brings us. You define only one point, which is your destination, not your starting point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So every time you have these, think about that. This is part of the theme, but then here, do I want to accent that note or not? Most probably, no. To create that direction.
And then we end up here.
Exactly. Which is the same pattern as here. And then, as the last thing to finish the thing, this movement, once you have designed, in the end as musicians, we define the little things to the whole picture. And the whole picture to the little things. So, then think this movement as one movement where the climax is. That's how we started the class. And, from the beginning, you are aiming this goal. You are aiming that destination. So even from the beginning, visualizing that the climax is coming. So you are creating an expectation in the audience. There's something great coming. Always, there's something great. And then you play the climax. Fantastic. Beautiful. One last thing which I think is very important, and I totally forgot, this is something more technical. Try to be very aware of your right hand and try to liberate the tension, especially of this finger and in this part of the hand. Right? So try every time you play, try that this part, you are with that part, you feel it and you give orders to relax. I'm using whenever I want to use it. Otherwise, if I'm not playing with this finger, you're on holidays. Relax. Okay. And trying to be aware of that, those little things that will improve your right hand